Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm going to talk today about Cabin in the Woods. I believe it was directed by someone named Drew Goddard. It's written by Joss Whedon. Uh, I think I'm not going to look anything up. I'm just going to let you know what I thought of it. But um, Cabin in the Woods is weird. It's one of those movies that show you how expectations can fuck with you. At least it was for me a good illustration of it because I knew nothing about the movie. I think I heard of it like a while ago, like last year. Like, oh, there's like this cool looking horror flick coming out, and you might want to put it on your radar. I think it might have been some article like that, like movies for 2012 to put on your radar. I was like, all right, cool. Cabin in the Woods. It sounds cool. It has talent behind it. I don't know much about Joss Whedon. Like, I know he did Buffy, and everyone likes Buffy, but I never watched it. So I mean, I went in not knowing what to expect because I think I saw like one trailer and that was it. Like I didn't know the details of the movie. I mean, I knew it was Joss Whedon, but that meant nothing to me. Um, and I went in knowing it was getting really good reviews from everybody. Very high tomato meter rating. Um, Everyone on Twitter is just like, "Oh my god, this is the best horror movie I've seen in so long," and like forever, this is the greatest horror movie in forever. So I went in it like not knowing what to expect, but expecting something really awesome for like a really great horror movie. And I think that was my first mistake is expecting it to be a horror movie, expecting it to be scary. It's like it's a horror comedy, really. Um, so that kind of threw me off. I was expecting one thing and I kind of got another. I kind of thought, oh, maybe there might be some weird like simulation shit going on because I got that out of one of the trailers. But I'll let you know in advance that there is going to be spoilers when I'm talking about this. I don't think you can really talk about this without giving some sense of what's going on outside of the basics. Like, I'm not going to spoil too much, but if you don't want to know anything going in, then stop watching and go like I did. But it's basically these kids are going out to a cabin in the woods, and of course, something bad's going to happen. But the movie has some very clever ideas uh, in which, well, basically, this cabin in the woods is part of a simulator that these people are running, like kind of like a Truman Show style, where like they are controlling everything that's happening. There's cameras everywhere, um, and they're in charge of like trying to kill these kids. And there's an explanation why. I won't give why these people are doing it, but that's their job. Like there's a whole facility and a company that's in charge of killing people horror movie style. And there is some sort of like it's sort of deconstructing the genre and its audience in a way, and it's doing it in a very clever and funny way. And you have these people that work in the place that are actually quite funny. Um, there's Richard Jenkins, he was the dad in 6 Feet Under, and he was the lead in The Visitor, and he's just a great underrated actor, and he's very funny in this. And the guy that his partner, I'm sorry, I don't know the actor's name. He's been in tons of shit. He's really funny, and there's the stuff that happens inside this like company that is running the simulation is some of the best parts of the movie and the funniest parts of the movie. Um, and then it's weird for me to it's very clever and it's funny at parts, but it's never scary. At least I didn't find any of it very scary. And underneath all the clever ideas and this like tongue-in-cheek look at the genre and the people that watch horror movies and all that stuff and different monsters, there's at its core, for a good portion of the film, like, the first half, at least the middle, it's a really routine subpar slasher flick. It really is. With cliched characters, like stereotypes, like you have the alpha male, the stoner guy, the nice virgin chick, or sort of a virgin chick. Um, and the movie, it explains why these things are the way they are and why the characters are the way they are. It's just, and the slutty chick, but it doesn't, just because it's commenting on these genre stereotypes and tropes and stuff. It doesn't make it better just for pointing out, oh, we have to have the stoner guy and the slutty chick and the jock, and isn't that funny how all horror movies are like that? No, it's not. It's old. And so even though it's a very self-aware film in the same vein as Scream and stuff, I don't feel that that's enough to save what it is at its core, which is this very routine slasher flick. Um, and they go in, and there's a whole bunch of shit in the cellar of this cabin, and which will activate different monsters like zombies, you know, clowns, different things, um, including mermen, which got like. There's a joke regarding the mermen, which they work for it, but it was like the funniest joke in the movie. And anyone who's seen it, it's when the guy goes, "I think it would have been cooler if it was mermen." But so they go in there, and so they're all fucking around with all these trinkets in the basement, and the one girl starts reading this diary, and she reads in Latin, and basically she resurrects this family that used to live at the cabin. She basically like they choose accidentally which monster is going to kill them all, and in this case it ends up being like this redneck zombie family. And the stuff, the horror, like the pure horror stuff, well, I don't know if any of this is pure horror, but the stuff with them, with the zombies chasing the kids around and killing them off by one, is very subpar slasher flick. It's just, there's nothing exciting. It's one thing to just play with the genre and make fun of it and poke fun, but then also make it exciting, make you go, man, they haven't made something this fucking amazing in years, which is what I expected. Like, I don't care if it's a horror comedy and it's poking fun at horror. Still make that part exciting, and it wasn't. I was like, for a good part of the movie, I was really bored. And then more spoilers later on. The kids discover that there's this facility that is running everything. They start to like figure out what's going on. They break in, and then there's like a crazy, good crazy 15 minutes at least at the end with all these different monsters that they could have ran into that like break out into the facility and all sorts of shit. And of course, throughout the whole movie, all sorts of references to different horror movies, and half of the fun is trying to like pick out which ones are which. But and I don't know. I didn't have a problem with the ending. I saw a review that really hated the ending. I was fine with the ending. I just felt like it's a very clever premise, and it's done generally well, but you have like these total cliche characters, which yeah, it's explained, but it doesn't mean that I like it more because of that. Really cliche characters and a very subpar, like very lazy slasher flick in the middle of it. That if that part had been done better, where and if I had cared about the characters more, and if the whole like slasher part, like at its center, outside of like what's going on in this facility and the people running the show, if like that shit was actually scary and suspenseful and fun, and it's not. I'm telling you, it's not. um I would have liked the movie a lot more, because there's parts, you know the stuff that's going on in the facility is very, the whole premise is very clever. It's a clever premise. There are some funny parts, funny bits. It's a cool idea, but at the center, I felt like that was a major problem. Uh, the cast is good in it, although they did, like I said, they're mostly just not playing anything too demanding here. Um, I liked Richard Jenkins and his buddy working in the facility the most, but I just felt like I think this movie was overhyped. I saw all these people on Twitter saying how great it is, the greatest horror movie ever, and or greatest horror movie in years, and just so much hype about it. And the critics liked it too. And I don't see any problem with the critics liking it. Like you might be surprised. I'm going to give it a positive kind of review here, but it's when the people, like people I know and people I see on Twitter, built it up way, way, way too much, saying how great it was. It's not. It's a cool idea. It's done generally well, but there are serious faults, and the biggest part is the zombie redneck part in the middle is just it's not good. It's not exciting. It's not fun. You're just kind of waiting for the next thing to happen, outside of that plot. When the stuff with them getting chased around and stuff could have actually been scary and inventive, and it could have been shown. It could have been like, most horror movies are not good at doing this, but this is how you make it good. Like this is how you do it right. It wasn't. I don't know. I don't know if I'm making my point about this enough, but the shit with the creatures that they summon, the redneck zombies, it's stupid. It's not. It's just so lazy compared to the rest of it. I thought it brought down the movie a lot because that's a big chunk of the movie. Before they find out that, well, there's people that are actually running this like a fucking horror show, um, for whatever reason. You find out what reason. I didn't have a problem with the reason. I thought the reason made sense, and it was a clever way of poking fun of the audience and the genre. But just that part there is just not as clever as the rest of it, and it unfortunately takes up a lot of screen time. So it's not like there's 5 minutes of them fighting off these zombies and that sucks. It's just like there's a big chunk of it that is like a standard slasher flick, but there's way better slasher flicks from the last couple of years. Um, I don't know, The Hills Have Eyes, the remake of that was great. And as far as horror movies, there's there aren't a lot of great horror movies nowadays, but I really enjoyed Insidious from last year. I thought that had some very scary moments and well drawn characters and stuff. Like it was a good movie. It relied on chills, and it was a good scary movie. Um, Frozen the year before, a movie a lot of people like to shit on. I thought that was one of the greatest horror movies of the last decade. I thought it was one of the greatest movies of the year that it came out. So Cabin in the Woods, I don't see it making. It's not going to make my top 10 list this year. I don't see it happening. Um, I just people hyped it up too much maybe, but I don't know. Like I said, it's inventive and clever, but there's a big chunk of it that's not very fun at all and kind of boring and subpar slasher flick. And then there's all the cool stuff outside of that, around that, which is it's cool, but I would have liked the this middle section to be better. And I would have liked the characters to not be stereotypes. I know the movie explains why they have to be stereotypes and this and that, but I don't know if there's a way around it. But it doesn't. Either way, it doesn't make me like the characters writing that well. And even yeah, the stoner guy's funny, but the stoner guys in these movies are always fucking these total fucking morons, and I'm sick of that. I really am. I'm sick of the stupid stoner in movies. Um, I know a lot of people that smoke weed and they're not fucking idiots. So, anyways, that's my thoughts. And I like it's a good movie. It was overhyped. It's not as great as people say. The fucking stuff at the core of it, like the slasher part of it before it starts going into all the other crazy, really fun stuff near the end, it's not that good. So I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5 stars. Good but flawed, and You should probably see it if you're into horror movies, but you might be disappointed like me, possibly. Anyways, later.